Give me my theme music. What's up, Buffs Nation, and welcome into Buffs News Weekly. I'm your host, Russ Dornish. And before we get started, make sure to hit that like if you like this content, and of course, be subscribed so that you know when we go live or when videos drop on this channel. Today, we're going to be talking about the effects that Coach Prime's contract will now have on recruiting as the 2026 recruiting class will begin to heat up. Of course, as of right this moment, Colorado and Coach Prime do not have a 2026 recruit committed. And in fact, they are the only Big 12 team to not have a single commitment. Now, am I worried about that fact? No. And the biggest reason for that is Colorado, in Coach Prime's first several years of coaching here, has always been kind of a last moment thing when it comes to recruits. Not very often are they getting commitments way in advance. Right about now is the time that maybe some commitments start rolling in, but they may roll in over the summer as well as throughout the fall football season, and of course, right up until the signing day in the winter. Now, this past year, you guys remember we watched together as a number of big-time commits all committed to Colorado, but they committed right at the end of the recruiting period. To me, honestly, early recruits are kind of pointless in the world of college football simply because it gives them a bunch of time to keep on visiting, going elsewhere, changing their minds, all of that stuff. I'd rather have that commitment towards the end of a recruiting period, knowing that they have been through the process, they've looked everywhere, and in the end, they've chosen to come to Colorado. Now, the reason why we're covering this, of course, is today was the return to spring practice for Colorado, and there was a press conference with a couple of players and coach. And Coach Hart was speaking to the media today when he had something to say that was very interesting that I think is a sign of things to come. And honestly, once Coach Prime's extension was completed, something that I think a lot of us already knew was going to happen. So let's go ahead and listen to Coach Hart, and we'll discuss this.
How do you think that will kind of help this program continue to recruit at a high level?
Well, it's already been helpful. Like, you got guys who even hit us back, and they're giving us the thumbs up and the praise, and they want to be here. But, it's a tactic that I think only works on people who have a little bit of doubt, because any coach can leave at any time. Nothing's guaranteed. But, it's been exciting because we've got a lot of feedback and a lot of people calling us back.
Okay, so right there already, like I said, they're getting feedback. They're getting players reaching out to them, not even just them reaching out to players, but players reaching out to the team saying, hey, I want to be a part of the program. Coach Prime's locked in. I'm going to be locked in. Hey, can I come and visit? Which brings us to the recruiting class, what we've offered so far, which is a number of players, but really who is coming on a visit. And there's quite a number, including this weekend is going to actually be a pretty big recruiting weekend. And so I want to take a look at that, take a look at the players, who's the ones to watch and why, and who else could we be on the radar for or looking out for now that Coach Prime has signed his extension. So just so you guys know, over on Twitter, if you guys follow, No Sco Zone puts out a lot of good information and graphics. This is what the weekend looks like coming up here in the first weekend of April. We've got 3-star / 4-star, depending on where you look, quarterback Brody McWhirter, who recently announced that he will be making his decision on May the 15th and has Colorado in his final teams, will be officially coming to Boulder this weekend. 6'2", 205-pound quarterback. The other person coming, and probably the ones that I am going to be most excited for, is first linebacker / running back Malik Morris from Lakeland, Florida. 4-star, 6'1", 230. And boy, does he bring a lot to offer. Okay, I want to show you guys just real quick what that looks like, and we can take a look at his videotape here. So let's take a look at the video of Malik and see what we see. So obviously plays both running back and linebacker. My guess is he'd be recruited for his linebacker ability. Of course, Colorado wanting to grow and get more depth at that linebacker spot. Of course, this past year, Mantrez Walker signing on 3-star/4-star linebacker out of Georgia. Malik would be a great addition to this defense to maybe pair with Mantrez for the upcoming seasons, something that we definitely are going to need. But man, when I've been watching Malik Morris's tape the last couple of months, as the interest has kind of grown in him, there's a lot of things you can say about him. And the fact that he also plays running back as well can already tell you what kind of player he is. Okay. Obviously has the speed, has the instinct to read the game, very good at getting downfield and finding the ball in the backfield. You can see right here, very good at penetrating, also very good at being patient and picking his spots. So all important things. His tape very much reminds me of Mantrez Walker's tape from high school. Very similar, complementary play styles. You also like there on the last footage that you just saw, him pointing out where his other linebacker needs to go, so can be a general of the defense back there. That's what you want with your future linebackers, but very, very good at getting into the backfield, but also being patient. The key with linebacker is to play your position. Don't play out of position. Like this play right there, had he just ran in and decided to go after that quarterback, he would not have been able to follow him. So does a good job of picking out his plays, and right there, just sitting back, getting a pick, and he's going to take it all the way for a pick six. So playmaking ability, speed, and then, of course, he also plays a little bit of running back. So could we see him do something like that later on in the future? Who knows? But he's got some flash to him. Be very interested to see what comes of him coming this weekend. And maybe he's one of the few guys that might be the first commit for 2026. You always got to think that when a player comes on an official visit, there's always a chance that they could commit during that visit. So you have to wonder if Malik Morris could be one of those guys. The other potential guy that could be committing this weekend, that has been on the kind of radar of Colorado for quite a while, that would be offensive tackle. That's right, offensive tackle Johnny Jones. Now, Johnny Jones will be very interesting to see if he does end up at Colorado. Being a tackle, by the time he gets here, Jordan Seaton will have a year or two remaining. So is he fine with potentially sitting behind him, because you've also got Cardi Smith on the other side? So the tackle position, by the time Johnny Jones would get to Colorado, may already be taken care of for a year or two. So then the question remains, is he prioritizing playing right away, or does he like what Colorado has to offer? Maybe play some guard, maybe, try and beat out a Cardi Smith, or kind of sit behind Seaton for a year or two. That's the wondering question that we'll all have as he comes to visit and what he thinks of Colorado. He has been scheduled to visit this weekend for quite a while. So a number of visitors this weekend, but we've got other recruiting stuff happening on a regular basis. Outside of that, another big piece of information that came out this past week, another player today, we're looking at the date, April 1st, did announce that they were offered by Colorado, Dewey Young. Okay, Dewey Young, 4-star offensive tackle, defensive tackle, 6'5", 285, getting offered to Colorado today. So today, getting that offer, that's a pretty big deal. When you see that happen, you have to wonder if maybe he was somebody that was on the fence, and now that Coach Prime has officially signed his extension, has said, you know what, Coach, I like it. I would love to get an offer. I would love to come play with you. I'd love to come on a visit at some point. maybe that was something that happened today as well. Very interesting on the timing of that, especially when you get late offers. Whenever you see late offers, there's a reason for it. They have spoken to that player. The player has shown some kind of interest, and so that is why you see that happening there. So a lot of things to pay attention to when it comes to Colorado's upcoming visitors. We got a couple other visitors coming in the next couple of weeks to pay attention to. Landon Wolney, a 4-star tight end of the 2027 class. He'll be coming next weekend to Colorado. So again, another player to look out for, but he's a 2027. As far as the rest, we've got a big visit coming up May 9th, but we also have the spring game coming up in the middle of April. And my guess is that we're going to have a ton of recruits at that. I went to the spring game last year. The line of recruits was out the door, including players like Mantrez Walker, who did come on a visit during the spring game. Be on the lookout because very well could be a big list coming up that we will see populated once we get a little bit closer to that spring game. But any time between now and the spring game is going to bring with it a lot of announcements, interest, things that we're going to need to look out for when it comes to that. So, of course, we're, 2 weeks or so away from that spring black and gold game, April 19th, Saturday. Again, that is going to be a big weekend for visits. And now that Coach Prime has signed that extension leading into this period, leading into the spring game, guys, the sky is the limit. The 2026 class is about to explode. I have faith in this program. I have faith in Coach Prime. I have no doubt that not only will we get a number of recruits, but I have no doubt that there will be a surprise or two. Coach Prime is not going to go a cycle without getting some big-time top recruit for Colorado. And again, now that extension is signed, it's going to be that much easier to get one of those players. That was the big question last year with Julian Lewis was why would he come to Colorado if Coach Prime was leaving? Or Jordan Seaton, why would you go to Colorado if Coach Prime's leaving? He knew it then. Juju knew it then. Coach Prime wasn't going anywhere. Well, now we've got the pen to paper to prove it. And so that's just going to help with this recruiting cycle so much more as we move forward. So I wanted to come in, talk about recruiting just a little bit, talk about how that contract is going to really affect and benefit Colorado moving forward here these next couple of weeks. So be on the lookout for more breaking news and information for Colorado. Of course, make sure you're subscribed and like this video. We would highly appreciate it. And until next time for Buffs News Weekly, I'm your host, Russ Dornish. Go Buffs!